In my opinion, vintage UFC has been neglected and undervalued, and I'm happy to finally see some people starting to give these OG products and cards some love. But at the same time, a Khabib First auto recently sold for 2,676, and a lot of Reddit UFC card collectors don't think that that card is valuable. So vintage UFC, let's talk about it. And like I said at the top of the show, a 2014 knockout Khabib First auto recently sold for $2,676. There were 60 bids on here. Really high, really good sale. And was through Probstein. So obviously if you go through consignor, you're going to get more eyes. You're probably going to get more for the card. But a really good sale. And since I have one of these, I was very happy to see that a Raw did this. 2,676. And going over here on Card Ladder, you can see it right here, 2,676 on an auction, sold a few days ago. Very good sale, man. Very, very good sale. If we look at the price here, we're going to see that it is pretty high up there. And it was a Raw. So you got 8s doing 27. You got an 8 doing 29. And then you got a Raw doing 2,676. So obviously great for vintage UFC, and why I wanted to talk about it here today. Really big card. I would think, right? You would think everyone would also agree that this is a huge card. It's Khabib's first auto. Obviously, it's going to be a huge sought after card. But I came across this on the Reddit page. And here you can see the title. We got the Khabib, the guy made a post talking about the auction that was happening. One of the holy grails of the UFC hobby is currently for auction. What's your opinion? Is it a good long-term investment? And then we have the discussion here. Far, far, far from anything resembling a holy grail. Bruh, it's of 149. Yeah, that's about 752 high, but it's eBay. It's worth what someone's willing to pay. A lot of money for a high numbered. Holy Grail is a massive reach. This is far from a grail. Just in some insane comments, man. As much as I love him as a fighter, this is way more than someone should be paying. It's of 149. Kabooms go for far less than this, and they're a lot more rare. Kabooms are not more rare than this card. That's really silly. Way, way, way too much. I have several Khabib autos of 10, and this is priced way too high. Too high a number, and not any special kind of insert or anything. Not a grail. If you want a Khabib of 10, let me know. I have 3. Like, these are insane comments, man. These are insane, insane comments. And this was really kind of honestly scary to see that. To see that this many people are just this far off base. And I'm guessing that these people have spent a lot of money in the hobby to not even recognize that this card, of course, it's one of Khabib's best cards, one of his biggest cards. To not even recognize that this should be worth more than some random Panini insert that's of 10 or less is very, very interesting to me. And to further reiterate my point, we had a lot of points on those talking about rarity, talking about kabooms are much more rare, really talking about, at the end of the day, it's about print run of 149 is too high, blah, blah, blah. But I just want to show some of the pop report data that comes with this card to really kind of put people's minds and put things into perspective when it comes to vintage UFC, that a lot of these cards are extremely, extremely low pop. Like for this Khabib, I believe it was just this one of 149 is, then you also had the red ink, and then you had the 1 of 1. And I believe that is all that was made of those cards. So you're talking about less than about 175, 180 of these were made in entirety. And I'm sure a ton of these kind of died during the process, got lost, whatever, damaged. And I just want to look at some of the pop report data here. Okay, so we're in PSA. So this is PSA's pop report. And this is all of the cards that have been graded with PSA for this 2014 first auto. And the answer is 16. There are only 16 of these first autos graded with PSA. There's only 16 of these first autos graded with PSA. Next, let's go to SGC. And then we will look for the Khabib. There's only one Khabib auto graded. 2014 Topps UFC knockout. His first auto, there's only one graded with SGC. So there's 17. We're talking about 17 pop right now total. And then we'll go to BGS, and there is 11. 11 total graded. So we've got 16, 1, and 11. Ooh, I'm doing math on the fly. This is not good. Let me edit this. We've got 11, 12, 16, so that's 28. So we've got 28 total graded cards in the entirety for Khabib's first auto. In the comments below, what are your thoughts on the crazy Khabib UFC card Reddit post? And we had an interesting point made about the Kaboom being more rare than this Khabib first auto, which I don't think is true. So let's look at the pop report for that, and then we'll make our conclusion. All right, so we have the 2022 Kaboom, which, you know, kind of, it was a Panini instant drop where they had the packs online. So to be determined whether this will hold more value than the 2023 that was in the hobby. But I would say this would probably have a lower pop than the ones that were put in the hobby, just because there was a ton of cases printed in 2023 Chronicles. But we found the card. So let's look at this pop. Okay, so this is the 2022 Khabib Kaboom. In theory, this, from what the Redditor said earlier on in the video, this should be a way lower print run than the Khabib. So let's see, is there less printed? There are 24. This is a pop 24 in a gem mint 10. If we go back, we were talking about the Khabib. I already forget what the number was. What was it? 26 or 28 total graded, not just a gem mint 10. This is only a gem mint 10. So you know that there's way more 9s out there than this 24 number. There was only 28 total graded of the Khabib. So already we know that the vintage pops are just going to be way lower, man. The print run is way lower. This should be very common knowledge. So that was very surprising to me to see that somebody was saying that a Kaboom, of all things, would be more rare than a Khabib first auto. What are your thoughts on this in the comments? Personally, I was very shocked, kind of taken aback, and I was a little scared for all these people that don't even realize that Khabib first auto is such a big deal and should be worth so much more than these other inserts. But I'm done with the doom and gloom. There has been a lot of good stuff lately, and it has been kind of revolving around the vintage UFC products. And I've seen vintage UFC products popping up everywhere. I've been seeing people post about vintage UFC cards and products. And a lot of it, I want to give a big shout out here to Chicken. We got Chicken right here, and he had a huge break with a ton of different vintage Topps products. And Aoki, the man, the myth, the legend. Say what you want about Aoki, man, but he really is doing a good job at kind of being in the forefront of UFC collecting and really putting his money where his mouth is. And they had a crazy stream. It got a ton of eyes, as you can see, 367. And Bruce Buffer joined the chat. I heard that there was also some UFC fighters that joined in the chat whenever they were breaking these really old vintage 2009 products. And finally, the vintage UFC seems like it's starting to gain some traction, starting to get some love. And I know for the longest time, I was really surprised that people were not interested in this. And I also kind of theorized that whenever the Topps license did come back, that people would start to pay attention to more of the vintage, more of the older Topps products. And I think we're kind of in the middle. It does seem to be kind of gaining a little bit of steam, but I think it's really important. And when you're talking about vintage in general, I think the vintage market is a good indicator of if the segment is strong and if the segment is doing well. And it does seem like right now the vintage market is doing pretty good. With the big Khabib sale, we had a really big GSP red ink sale. So some really big sales popping off for the older products. And man, I just love to see it. It's really safe. We have people's legacies that are already cemented. They can't lose because they're retired. They've already been champions for many years. You know, it's just a good, safe place to put your money in. And it's a good, safe place to buy something that the pop in the print run is really low as well. Thanks for watching me talk about vintage UFC cards. If you like cards, if you like MMA, if you like UFC, you'll like this channel. So go ahead and check out these videos and subscribe for future videos just like this.